guys, what's up? Ooh, let's fix the lighting. How about that? Sure. Darn. That's a little better. Oh, please tell me I'm online. Hi. Okay, now we're on. Hello, welcome. Hi. Hello, happy Tuesday. Hello, I will get started in just a moment. I'll let people join as they will. Hopefully everyone had a really good weekend and a good start to the week. Hello. Woo! Hello, hi Dallas. Tacos. All right, what's up, you all? Okay. Let me, first things first. Okay, first things first, go ahead and get started. I was going to talk a little bit about Dallas. And if there's anything else, I was kind of gonna be a little bit loose today. I have a few other like good things for you. It's not all bad. But Los Angeles, this is something we talked about for a really long time. The recall effort to get rid of George Gascon, the super woke DA. So unfortunately, the recall effort has failed. It did not pass the signature verification step. So what had happened was basically to kick off a recall election. By the way, George Gascon, he is one of the George Soros super progressive rogue DAs. As you all know, I'm sure there's been a ton of crime in Los Angeles. There's been an uptick in crime, and a lot of people blame that on crime not prosecuted. So he clearly biggest critiques as well. I have been from day one. I was really excited about the recall effort. San Francisco gave me a lot of hope. They successfully recalled Chesapeake. But George Gascon, it failed. So they needed about 570,000 signatures. They collected over 700,000. I think the final number was like 770,000. Then what happens after you collect all of the signatures? Essentially, they want a cushion to go over because not all of the signatures are going to be verified. They need to make sure that they're registered voters in Los Angeles, that they're residents of Los Angeles, that the name matches the address, all of that stuff. So they gathered about 700,000 signatures. It goes to the county registrar's office. They verify the signatures and tell you whether or not the recall is going to go through. And it was at the registrar's, and that's where they did not go through. So progressive Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon survived the push to get him ousted, even though more than 520,000 confirmed voters supported a recall petition. The California County's Register Recorder Dean Logan announced Monday that 200,000 of those 700,000 signatures on the recall petition were found to be invalid, with nearly 90,000 of them not registered to vote and nearly 45,000 signatures being duplicates. That still left 520,000 valid and eligible signatures, just shy of the 566,000 that were needed to move forward. Therefore, the petition has failed to meet the sufficiency requirements, and no further action shall be taken on the petition. The much maligned DA, whose woke policy allowing violent criminals to remain free have been blamed for rising crime in the city of Los Angeles and neighboring areas, acknowledged the decision Monday, saying that he was grateful to move forward from this attempted political power grab. Who cares? I care. I'm talking about it. And I guess you care because you're watching. I don't know. So one of two things is going to happen. First of all, I think that lesson learned, people need to pay attention to local politics. And the reason that George Gascon won is that, I know I'm joking. The reason that George Gascon won is that he ran on criminal justice reform at a time when criminal justice reform was the hot topic among voters. This came off the bat. This came right off George Floyd. So that was clearly a super hot topic at the time. He had a lot of funding. That topic, criminal justice reform. Issue is voters will hear criminal justice reform, see your face everywhere because there's tons of money funding your political ads, and they're going to vote for that. Who wouldn't vote for criminal justice reform? The issue is, what does criminal justice reform mean? What exactly does that mean? What exactly are you going to do? That wasn't always transparent about. So a lot of people felt betrayed. As soon as he got into office, as soon as the very first day he was in office, December 7th, he sent out a list of directives saying we need to completely get rid of cash bail, no sentencing enhancements, which enhancements are like gang-related things. If you had a deadly weapon, like a firearm and things like that, which also you would think in the wake of all this gun violence, you would think that you would especially want to charge gun crimes. You would want to use those enhancements. He got rid of all of that, just a lot of blanket sweeping changes that don't take nuance into consideration. So a lot of people obviously were unhappy about this. And with a lot of the high profile crimes that are happening in Los Angeles, you're looking at these crimes, you're looking at the person who perpetrated these crimes, you're seeing their rap sheet, and you're like, wow, they were in trouble like just a few months ago for something you would think they would still be in jail for. So that's what had happened. And what you think can happen because of this with George Gascon? One, he could kind of feel vindicated and double down on policy. Or two, he could take this as a warning and maybe a little bit more moderate in the beginning. I don't know which one it's going to be. Impression of his personality, I would think that he would see it as vindication and double down. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe he will see this as a warning. I think a lot of people were really shocked when Chesa Boudin was successfully recalled, and hopefully that was a signal that a lot of these prosecutors need to start taking crime a bit more seriously, but you never know. And also, and he already did, I will say, because he got so much public pressure, he did go back on some of his policies earlier, like the enhancement and the zero cash bail. He walked that, and the juvenile thing. So he wanted anyone that was charged as a juvenile, even if it was like a week before your 18th birthday, he wanted you in a juvenile facility. He didn't want you charged as an adult. So just a lot of like sweeping things like that that don't take into account, again, nuance. So it says the group vowed to fight on, saying that the removal of George Gascon from office has never been a matter of if, but when. The citizens of Los Angeles cannot afford another 2 years of Gascon unleashing havoc on their streets. The people's lives are at stake. This is Jonathan Hatami, a Los Angeles district, a deputy district attorney, And a fierce critic of Gascon said that he was incredibly saddened and disappointed by this news. The residents of Los Angeles County cannot afford another 2 years of George Gascon's dangerous policies. The lives of so many innocent residents are at risk, so we must all come together and help stand up. Since taking office in December 2020, okay, we know that. So we'll see. That is what sucks. You know, you say you get what you vote for. You get all of those things, but it does suck because something like this, where it directly involves safety, that stinks. Because yeah, I don't agree with your policy. It's one thing not to like a politician or not to agree with their policy, but to know that their policies are making people unsafe, that's tough. All right, but let's move on from that. I am so tired of talking about the recall. But we had to finish it off and talk about how this happened. I'm done with the recall now. Probably, unfortunately, not talking about George Gascon, but I am definitely talking about this recall. So there's that. Now I think this is really funny. I'm trying to go a little bit lighter. But several CEOs are coming, like several CEOs that you would think are super woke, are starting to come out and talk back against the woke. So John Mackey, he is CEO of Whole Foods, and he's going to be retiring soon. He's 68 years old. He's going to be leaving Whole Foods. He's been with them for 44 years. And he's retiring. Well, he was recently doing a radio interview and said that he has a lot to say. He also said that socialists are taking over the country. They said that they are taking over every institution. They've taken over education. They've taken over corporations. They've taken over Hollywood. He says he's a capitalist at heart. And there's been so much that he has wanted to say. Running such a giant corporation was intimidating and kind of put a muzzle on him. But he's like, look, man, I only have 6 weeks left. You just wait until this 6 weeks are over. I'm going to start talking about politics. And I can't wait to hear what he has to say. I think it's going to be awesome. But another CEO, somebody that I have actually met before, I used to work for them, if you can believe that, a long time ago. Only for like 2 years. JP Morgan CEO scoffs at climate crazy energy policies and gives his take on woke capitalism. So this is one more CEO. No, this is Jamie Dimon. He's the CEO of JP Morgan. I work for JP Morgan Private Bank like maybe 2 years. It was just like a passing job for me. But while I was working there, Jamie Dimon actually came into town and did sort of like a town hall for us. So I got to meet him. So he says JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon. Okay, I'm seeing the sound is bad. You guys, I don't know. I was not on Wall Street. This was actually in Denver, Colorado. They have... It was a little private bank there. I have to go in about 15 minutes, so I'll try to figure out what's happening. Sometimes there's no issue, sometimes there is. I think it's my cord. I apologize. Dimon is one of the most experienced and influential chief executives on Wall Street, quipped about the economy and other global issues during a wide-range call with investors, as originally reported by Yahoo Finance. In addition to forecasting, no stereo is clear. What does that mean? Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted. This is what happens when people start talking about this sound, and I get distracted. Inflation will not dissipate that quickly. This consumer confidence on partisan politics and a lot of leftover anger from COVID-19. He appeared to push for a brand of woke capitalism that prioritizes economic opportunity. You can no longer ignore the bad part of society, not hire them. You can't the bad part of society, not hire from them, not drive through the parts of town. I think it's a mistake because our society is worse off if we don't lift everyone up. It's far more than woke capitalism. Diamond recently said that he is not woke, but nevertheless defended stakeholder capitalism, the notion that companies have a mandate to involve themselves in social issues while maximizing profits for shareholders. Yet he argued last week that it is a good thing to lift up our fellow citizens through economic opportunity since jobs bring dignity, lead to household formation, and reduce crime. Referring to high rates of youth unemployment in parts of Europe, Diamond added that such situations ensure those nations are going to have a social problem. On the topic of climate change, Diamond contended that high energy prices are pushing many nations to rely upon coal, a phenomenon that could easily be averted through greater oil and gas production. So here you have again another CEO, Jeff Bezos, did the same thing, that's calling for more energy production. I think Jeff Bezos did it. You might want to check me on that. He called for something. No, Jeff Bezos called on Biden's bluff for blaming everything on Putin. Elon Musk did the same thing. Elon Musk is the CEO of the largest, arguably the most innovative electric car manufacturer in the entire world, and basically said that the US needed to produce more oil. And he went on to say, yeah, it would hurt my bottom line, but this is what we need to do. Jamie went on to say, we should focus on climate. The problem with that is because of high oil and gas prices, the world is turning back on their coal plants. It is dirtier. Why can't we get it through our thick skulls that if you want to solve climate, it is not against climate for America to boost more oil and gas. Oil and gas. Can I say that again? Why can't we get it through our thick skulls that if you want to solve climate, it is not against climate for America to boost more oil and gas? The national average price of gasoline was $2.38 per gallon when President Joe Biden assumed office, according to the Energy Information Administration, and increased to $3.53 per gallon by the start of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Prices surpassed $5 per gallon in early June before subsiding to $3.95 per gallon as of Tuesday, according to AAA. Yet the Commander-in-Chief nixed an expansion of the Keystone XL pipeline upon his interest into office, while top White House officials have claimed that higher fuel prices will accelerate renewable energy adoption in the United States. In a letter to shareholders written earlier this year, Diamond responded to the Russian invasion by calling for a new Marshall Plan, a callback to World War II policies that rebuilt Europe, centered upon a diverse portfolio of American energy. While the United States is fairly energy independent, we need to increase our energy production and get more gas to Europe immediately, he wrote. This is Jamie Dimon. Our work with all of our allies should include urging them to both increase their oil production and deliver some of it to Europe. To do this, we also need immediate approval for additional oil leases and gas pipelines, as well as permits for green energy projects. We cannot accomplish our goals with misguided and counterproductive policies. Meanwhile, Biden is preparing to sign the $740 Inflation Reduction Act, which includes $369 billion to combat the existential crisis of climate change. So, what Jamie Dimon is basically saying, which is what I've said too. Okay, do you want to have the argument about renewable energy or climate change? We can have that argument, but the truth of the matter is we are not going to be off oil anytime soon. Oil helps get people out of poverty. It does a huge social justice for the entire world. We're just not going to get off of it anytime soon. So why would we not, in the meantime, while we're all going green, why would we not increase oil production in the US so that it's cheaper for us, so that it's cheaper for Europe, so that nobody has to depend on Russia or Saudi Arabia? Why would we not do that in the meantime while we're heading towards the Green New Deal or whatever? This is what I don't understand. And I think this is basically, although he has a bit different goals, this is basically what Jamie Dimon is saying too. Why would we not do that? It doesn't make any sense. I guess it does if you're an electric car company, which is also really interesting because hello. Because what I'm seeing right now, so basically since the beginning of all of this, everyone has, all of our Democratic politicians, what are they saying? Well, just buy an electric car. You don't have to worry about gas prices if you have an electric car. Well, that's very insulting to many Americans because maybe a lot of people can't afford an electric car. And I say maybe as being ironic because there are many people that can't afford an electric car. If you're hurting because of gas prices, more than likely you're going to hurt buying a brand new $50,000 electric car. But in this Inflation Reduction Act, you can get the new rules reauthorize you'll get a $7,500 federal tax credit for a full battery or advanced plug-in hybrid until 2032. But how does that help when at the same time the price of the car is more expensive? GM. Okay, here we go. This is it's not funny, but you have to laugh at it. Okay, so as the Democrats force Americans to go green, automakers are going even greener. Ford and General Motors unveiled price increases for their electric vehicle lineups as the Inflation Reduction Act, which includes electric vehicle tax credits, is slated to become law, citing significant material cost increases and other factors, and $8,500 for its electric vehicles. The F-150 Lightning Pro for $7,000, a $7,000 increase from on last year's model. GM likewise increased the cost of its electric Hummer by $6,200 last month. The price hikes are comparable to the $7,500 tax credits for the new electric vehicles included in the $740 billion Inflation Reduction Act, which currently awaits President Joe Biden's signature. The legislation earmarks a total of $369 billion to combat the existential crisis of climate change. So this is what the government does a lot. It's really interesting. So you feel like you're getting money, right? You're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. If I go and buy an electric car, I am going to get a tax rebate or a tax credit of $7,500, yet you are paying more for that car anyway. They just increased their prices. It's like getting a raise at work, but it doesn't really matter because everything else is more expensive anyway. I remember I was working, this was a while ago. But I remember because I saw the effects of this just instantly. I'm living in West Hollywood, California, and our minimum wage increased in West Hollywood. I think it increased to like $13 an hour. I don't know. That was the minimum wage. And I was a part-time waitress at the time, so I made minimum wage plus my tips. So my pay up to, I made $13 an hour plus tips, which is a dollar more than it was previously. And I remember the very day that this was implemented, because the same day we were told, yeah, your hourly wage just went up to 13 hours. That same exact day, we got a brand new menu and we implemented this brand new menu. Well, all the prices on the menu were increased. So I kind of sat and thought about it for a second. I'm like, I was so excited because, you know, $1 an hour, that's not much, but you know, it kind of adds up. You always are excited to get a raise. So I was like, okay, cool. Making more money per hour, cool. But then the price of everything all around me went up. So I didn't really get a raise. And that's how it works. But you think you do, because that in your head, for instance, with this $7,500 credit, you're thinking in your head like, oh my God, I'm going to get that money back. It's a reward, yet you're just paying more upfront. Someone says, duh, government input always makes things more expensive. Look at the availability of student loans, and the inflation rate of college tuition is a really good example. Oh my gosh, I was talking to someone recently, and granted, she's in school for something medical, so she has to go to school for a significant amount of time. If someone was in college for business getting their MBA, I would be like, do not do that. Don't do that. But this is one of those degrees that you actually do need to have a degree. She's going into a medical field. But she is paying for college herself and working part-time through college. And she lives with her parents. And the reason she has to live with her parents is because her student loans are $1,500 a month. $1,500 a month. For what, like 30 years? I don't know. Insane. And the first, probably what? Tell me if I'm wrong. The first few years of that, you're just paying interest. Yeah, the land of the free, right? And what she's doing is good. She's getting a medical degree. How are the prices for cat items for Eva? Those prices are always good. It's always worth it to get cat toys for Eva. Thank God cat food hasn't gone up as bad as other things. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. I think. I'm back. Okay. I read somewhere that the average family spends $700 more per month. That's wild to me. Yeah, it's hard for me because I don't have a fixed income. I make more. The more I work, the more money I make. So I don't have a fixed income. So I think it's hard for me to track how much more. I mean, I definitely notice if I go to the grocery store, I'm like, it costs $2 for a bag of cilantro, like a buck of cilantro. Like I noticed things like that. I noticed certain things that go up and tell you like how much more money you spend per month because you don't have a fixed income. I love cilantro. Did you know that some people's taste buds, when they eat cilantro, it tastes really bitter, almost like soap? And then some people just love it. I love cilantro, but for some people, they can't eat it. It's because the taste buds on their tongues. It makes the cilantro taste super bitter. We Mexicans love it. It has to be on tacos and everything. I actually discovered cilantro when I lived in Colorado because there's a lot of Mexicans that live in Colorado, and there's a lot of Mexicans, and I discovered uh, tomatillas. I discovered cilantro. I discovered, what else did I discover? I started making green salsa, mole, lots of stuff. Okay, this is a really interesting story. It didn't really, it could have gone, this could have gone very differently. So all the universities just had their rush for sorority. Speaking of how expensive university is, it's also like an extra, I don't know, $5,000 to $7,000 a semester if you are in a sorority. I'm guessing it's the same for a fraternity. But they just did their rush weeks. And in Alabama, University of Alabama, Roll Tide, the sororities unanimously rejected a transgender applicant in the sororities. So listen to this story. Sororities at the University of Alabama rejecting current political correctness stuck together as they opposed a biological male attempting to join their groups. University of Alabama student Grant Sykes stated that he attempted to join the sororities but was unanimously rejected. According to Outkick, Sykes posted his quest on TikTok, accruing several million views, but the sororities dismissed the idea of a man joining their group. Unfortunately, this chapter is closed, Syke complained on Instagram. The recruitment journey is over for me. Being dropped from my last house this morning during primary recruitment at the University of Alabama doesn't come as a surprise considering out of the almost 20 chapters, I was dropped by every one except two before day one. I'm hopeful of a future where everyone is welcomed for just being themselves everywhere. If you are going through a hard time today, remember that life is too short to ponder on the things lost. Choose happiness and always look for the positive things throughout life. Move on, see the good, see the bad, hope for the best, brave the worst. Sports commentator Clay Travis stayed firm. He said, Roll Tide. Travis has also been really outspoken about Leah Thomas and the publication. I don't know if it's his publication or if he works for them. It's called Outkick. He talks a lot about sports, but he's one of the original publications that started talking about Leah Thomas. He says, Roll Tide, good for them for standing up to this absurdity. Good for the women at the University of Alabama, for the people who are advising them, for them being willing to stand up, be called transphobic, or whatever you want to say. I can't believe I have to say this. Men should not be able to be members of Alabama sororities. And by the way, he said, if you're a straight guy in a sorority house surrounded by smoking hot chicks, not the worst thing. If you were a straight guy at the University of Alabama and you were an undergrad and you got the opportunity to live in a sorority house, that's cooking with grease. That's pretty smart. But I will say this, like, first of all, I thought so Grant Sykes was the name of the transgender individual who wanted to join the sororities. I will say that I actually appreciate that he's not, I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm appreciative that not a huge deal is being made about this. I'm appreciating that he's not all like, this is taking us back and all these sororities are transphobic and this and that. And to be honest, we don't know that I'm gonna guess that has a very big, that is a very big reason why this person was dropped. I guess that, but we don't know. It could have been a million things. Could have been a million different reasons. Tons of girls are not accepted into sororities all the time. We don't really know the specific reason as to why Grant was not chosen to be in a sorority, but I would imagine that has something to do with it. And if you know anything about the University of Alabama, it's very traditional, it's very Southern. The sororities are very, very, very girly. So I could see that, yeah, this might not have flown. And to be in a sorority too, not everyone does, but you live in a house with all women. You live in a house with all women. Imagine that dynamic. But good for them. Someone says male no rights to be in female bathrooms, locker rooms, or bedrooms, no matter how the male identifies or dresses. All right. Well, I have to go a little bit early. I have an appointment, but I'm going to be back tomorrow. I will be back at 2 p.m. Sounds like a funny. I will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'll probably also be here tomorrow night. I'll let you know during the day tomorrow if I decide to come on at night again too, or if usually it's not if I decide, if I can. But everyone have a really good day. I will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, hopefully tomorrow night as well. Have a great day. Thank you so much, you guys, and I'll see you later. Eat a taco. Just eat a taco, okay? Bye, you all.